the teacher who made a positive difference in my life was Dr. Stanley Stewart, my English professor at the University of California, Riverside, who helped me believe in my dreams. I grew up loving books, apparently a disappointment to my mother, because every night after doing the chores and cleaning up the kitchen, I'd go to my room instead of watching television with the rest of the family, and I'd read library books that took me to other worlds, histories, novels, biographies of people I admired. And I'd often read late at night under the covers with a flashlight. So years later, I was a first-generation college student working my way through the University of California, Riverside with a job at the local newspaper. I majored in English, wanted to be a writer, and signed up for a Renaissance literature class with Dr. Stanley Stewart. Well, after I'd registered, my friend said, "Are you crazy? He's a really hard grader. You're a fool to take his class." But from the first day of class, I was inspired, transported back to the Renaissance, to the poets who asked questions like I was asking myself, questions of purpose, meaning, and identity. And I'd go to the college library reading as much as I could about the literature of the Renaissance, including Dr. Stewart's books and articles. And I'd visit his office hours quite a bit, asking more questions because I was entering my own personal Renaissance, realizing that despite the educational history of my family or lack thereof, I wanted to become a college professor. I was surrounded by people who discounted my dreams. My friends laughed at me. My boyfriend proposed to me and then said I should drop out of school and work so that he could go to grad school. And my mother told me I should become an airline stewardess, or flight attendant, as we call them now, because I wasn't very bright, she said, but I had a nice personality. So Dr. Stewart was the first person in my life who really saw me. He listened with kindness, understanding, and support, and told me that he'd been a first-generation college student and he'd gotten his Ph.D. at UCLA. Wow. As if that wasn't enough, he then made me his research assistant. Although Riverside had a graduate program in English and I was only an undergrad, I actually got paid for reading and taking notes on the books and articles that I loved. And 2 years later, I graduated summa cum laude with a graduate fellowship to UCLA, where I got my PhD in English Renaissance literature, and spent years with my career as a college professor, gratefully giving back to others, to my students, the gift that Dr. Stewart had given to me. So we now know from psychological research that it only takes one supportive adult to bring a young person a sense of hope and resilience, no matter what that person's background. So if you're hearing this, you might be that one supportive adult who can make a positive difference in a young person's life by seeing them, by recognizing their potential and helping them believe in their dreams.